Marco Rubio made the choice to go on Good Morning America, and it backfired. George Stephanopoulos called out Rubio for contradicting his boss, and his challenging questions left Rubio stammering and uncomfortable. We'll show you a prime example in a moment, but stick around through the entire video to see Rubio and Trump make total fools of themselves. Before we get started, please hit the like button and subscribe for more content. These are serious times. In fact, a strong argument could be made that never before has our democracy been so threatened. But dear leader can't be bothered with trivial things like war, skyrocketing prices, and economic chaos. With the world watching, Trump embarrassed himself and the United States. Rubio chatted with Stephanopoulos on Good Morning America and tried to explain why negotiating with Iran's current leadership is tough.
That we are dealing with a 47-year-old regime that still has a lot of people involved in it who aren't necessarily big fans of diplomacy or peace.
Talk about the pot calling the kettle black. Sorry, Marco, but you're working for a guy who has no interest in diplomacy and peace. So the issue isn't as one-sided as you'd like to think. No, Donald Trump is interested in one thing, and it sure isn't peace. Trump wants to build his version of the Roman Empire in the Western Hemisphere. First he wanted Greenland. Now his dreams of being a conqueror are focused on Cuba.
Mr. President, I'm pardon you mentioned that Cuba will be next. What did you mean by that exactly?
Who will be next?
Cuba.
Yeah, Cuba's going to be next. Cuba's a mess. It's a failing country, and they're going to be next. Within a short period of time, it's going to fail. And we will be there to help it out. We'll be there to help our great Cuban Americans out who were thrown out of Cuba. In many cases, their family members were mutilated and killed by Castro. No, Cuba's going to be next, yeah.
The same guy who desperately begs for a Nobel Peace Prize seems to be all in on constant wars. Very reminiscent of a certain man who came to power in the 30s and craved world domination. People like that tend to have their dreams blow up on them. When Marco Rubio is asked a difficult question, he tends to get this deer in the headlights look in his eyes. Watch as he's asked about who Trump is really negotiating with and his lightning-fast pivot when he uses the word war.
You call them lunatics, but the president just had this post where he says we're in discussions with a new and more reasonable regime. Let me try to pin you down on that. Who is this new and more reasonable regime? Is the United States in direct contact with them?
Well, I'm not going to disclose to you who those people are because it probably would get them in trouble with some other groups of people inside of Iran. Look, there's some fractures going on there internally. And at the end of the day, I think that if there are people in Iran who now, given everything that's happened, are willing to move in a different direction for their country, that would be great. Imagine in Iran that instead of spending their wealth, billions of dollars supporting terrorists or weapons, had spent that money helping the people of Iran, you'd have a much different country. So we are always hopeful that that would exist over there. It's unfortunate. The people of Iran are incredible people. The people who lead them, this clerical regime, that is the problem. And if there are new people now in charge who have a more reasonable vision of the future, that would be good news for us, for them, for the entire world. But we also have to be prepared for the possibility, maybe even the probability, that that is not the case.
Well, but the president said they are. Is that the case or is it not? I'm just trying to get some clarity on that.
Well, what I mean is, so you have people that are saying some of the right things privately. Obviously, they're not going to put it out in press releases, and what they say to you or put out there for the world doesn't necessarily reflect what they're saying in our conversations. But at the end of the day, we have to see if these people end up being the ones in charge, seeing if they're the ones that have the power to deliver. We're going to test it. We are hopeful that that's the case. There are clearly people there talking to us in ways that previous people in charge in Iran have not spoken to us in the past. Some of the things they're willing to do, some of the things they're saying they're willing to do. Obviously, they have to go do it. We're going to test that proposition very strongly because we always prefer to settle things through negotiation and diplomacy. But we also have to be prepared for the fact that that effort might fail.
And if it fails, the war expands?
What's that? I'm sorry?
If it fails, the war expands?
Well, the war is about this operation, okay, and that's what this is. It's about very specific objectives. The president laid them out on the first night of the operation. I'll repeat them to you now because I hear a lot of talk about we don't know what the clear objectives are. Here they are. You should write them down. Number one, the destruction of their Air Force. Number two, the destruction of their Navy. Number three, the severe diminishing of their missile launching capability. And number four, the destruction of their factories so they can't make more missiles and more drones to threaten us in the future. All of this so that they can never hide behind it to acquire a nuclear weapon. That was our objective from the beginning. That remains our objective now. We are on pace and, in fact, ahead of schedule on some of those things. And we are going to achieve those things in a number of weeks, not in a number of months.
Yeah, Rubio said multiple ridiculous things during that clip, but the one that should infuriate anyone with a brain was his claim that Iran is willing to make concessions that no other president was able to get from them. That's a load of crap. They made the same concessions to President Obama. The agreement was clearly working until the vindictive Trump scrapped it. How can America be considered a serious country when buffoons like Rubio and Trump tell bald-faced lies on a daily basis? How can any of our allies respect America when the clown in the Oval Office keeps moaning about not getting the Nobel Peace Prize?
Whether people like Trump or don't like Trump, I settled 8 wars, big ones, some going on for 36 years, 32 years, 31 years, 28 years, 25 years, some just getting ready to start like India and Pakistan, where already 8 jets were shot out of the air. And I got it done in rapid order without nuclear weapons. I can't think of anybody in history that should get the Nobel Prize more than me. And I don't want to be bragging, but nobody else settled wars. Obama got the Nobel Prize. He had no idea why. He still has no idea. He walks around and he says, I got the Nobel Prize. Why did he get a Nobel Prize? He got it almost immediately upon attaining office, and he didn't do anything, and he was a bad president. So, I mean, you should get the Nobel Prize for every war you stopped. These were major wars. These were wars that nobody thought could be stopped. President Putin called me and he said about 2 of the wars that he's been trying to stop them for 10 years. He wasn't able to do it. He couldn't believe it. So in theory, you should get the Nobel Prize for every war you stopped. Every one of them was major. But I don't care about that. What I care about is saving lives. I've saved tens of millions of lives. You know, the Prime Minister of Pakistan came here and he made a very public statement. He said that President Trump saved minimum 10 million lives having to do with Pakistan and India, and that was going to be raging.
No, this administration is in no way serious. It's a collection of fools led by a man who dances while missiles are flying, people are dying, and more Americans every day recognize the sheer lunacy of this war. Thanks for watching. Again, please hit the like button and subscribe for more content.